Hello, let's take a moment and go over the study guide for the final assessment that you're going to take in class. So the study guide was linked in Echo and it is comprised of 12 slides. Now, some of you may have gotten a study guide that has this extra box on there. Some of you may not have, doesn't matter, but a lot of you had a sheet of paper that you were taking notes on. So anything I write over here, just put that on your notes. A couple things we need to remember. First thing, every question on this activity models a question from the assessment that you're going to take in class. So understanding what to do on each of these questions is key for being successful tomorrow when you take the assessment. Looking at this first question, it says, what is the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points? So first thing I need to tell myself, to complete this problem, I need to remember that an equation should look like this. An equation should look like a y equals mx plus b. Meaning, the first thing I need to be able to do is to find the slope. Now, what I notice is on a graph, I would be able to find the rise and the run, but I don't have a graph for this question. So I need to find the slope from 2 points. And here's what you do to find the slope from 2 points. You put the points into a table. I'm going to show you what to do, how to do that. So what I do is I'm going to go ahead and make an X and a Y. And then underneath that, I'm going to stack these 2 points. I'm going to say 2, 7, and then I'm going to say 0, 1. Guess what? There's my table. Now, from there, now I need to find the rate of change. Remember, we're going to write that rate of change as change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to look at these values. I'm going to start with the change in y. I started at 7 and I ended at 1. So did I go up or down? Well, I went down, so I minus, and I had to do a minus 6 because 7 minus 6 gave me 1. Now, how did I go from 2 to 0? Well, I went down 2, right? Now, it says write as change in y over change in x. So what that looks like is change in y is negative 6, change in x is negative 2. What I would do from here is open up the calculator at the top of your screen. When you do that, put this fraction in, you will see that your slope turns into 3. You know that in your equation, the m is now going to be a 3. The next thing I need to find is a b. Okay, so let me come back here and click back in here. So I have m equals 3. Now, find the y-intercept or the b. And to do that, I find where x equals 0. So I'm going to look at my table, right? And as I look at my table, here's the x column. Guess what? There's the 0. That means that this number right here is my b. So that means that my b equals 1. Lastly, plug in the m and b. So my equation now goes from y equals mx. Oops, let me do this so you can see better. Y equals, instead of an m, I'm now going to put my 3, right? 3x. And instead of a b, I'm going to put that 1. So 3x plus 1. So when I come over here and I look, oh, there it is. That's the correct answer right here. All right, so let's go ahead and let me clear it all out. Let's see. There we go. Let's go over to slide 2 now. All right, on slide 2, it's going to tell me right now there's 3 answers I need to choose. Here's what I know. To complete this problem, I need to notice it's giving me an equation. So thing 1 is it says the equation is y equals negative 20x plus 160. First, I see the minus 20 is the slope. Now, if I look and I read this question, it says Jamal's parents are loaning him money to buy a pair of shoes. This equation represents how much he's paying his parents back for X months. Select all the true statements. Now, the fact that this is X number of months and 20 is the slope, hopefully you're recognizing that that means he's paying his parents $20 per month, and that's per month because it tells us months. All right, next, I see the 160 is the y-intercept. I know that from looking at a word problem, the y-intercept is found because it's the starting value or the total amount, right? So that means, oops, I don't want that there, I want that here. That means that his shoes have to cost $160 total, because that's how much he needs to be paying back. That's his starting value. Now, just seeing these two things, I can come over and find already the three answers I need. They're going to try to trick us. Negative the 20 per month and 20 per day. So let's jump back over, reread the question. It says months. See what I wrote over here? I said 20 is the slope. It's per month. So this has to be one of them. The next thing is the shoes have to cost $160 total. So total cost of shoes, there's that one. Yep. One more of these has to be correct. We know it's not 20 per day. We know the shoes are not costing $140, so it has to be this. But why? Well, here's why. It says 3 months, right? So 1 month, he's paying $20. 2 months, he's now paid back $40. 3 months, he's now paid back $60. If his total is $160 and he's already paid off $60, that means he still owes that $100. So that's why this one is correct. So these are your three right answers. Hopefully that makes sense. Go to slide 3. Again, find the slope, 2 points. Like we did on slide 1, to complete this problem, I need to, here's what I'm going to say, put my points into a table. Find the rate of change. So here we go. XY, 6, 4, and 4, 7. Well, oops, I don't want yellow, I want orange or red. All right, from 4 to 7. Well, we added 3. From 6 to 2, or that should be a 4. I'm sorry, not a 2. From 6 to 4, we subtracted 2. So for writing it as change in y over change in x, my y changes the 3, right? So that goes on top. My x changes the 2, negative 2, so it goes on the bottom. If I'm unsure about what this means because I look over here and I don't see a positive 3 over a negative 2, I know that means it's the same thing as this. I can put this fraction into the calculator to check it if I need to. So the correct answer for this one is, you got it, negative 3 over 2. Now, slide 4 is really just to show us something. I want you to notice, I can click each of these circles and turn the equation on. When I click the first one, what do I see? Straight line, yep. That means it's safe to say that that is linear. Has an exponent of 0, but it makes a linear line. So let's go to the second one. Is this linear? Nope. Hopefully you see it has a curve. The difference in the equation here, it has an exponent. This teeny tiny 2 makes it curve. So that would be nonlinear. These two look like equations we've done in class. Both are straight lines. Both are linear. Good job. Nothing different about the equations. This last one has an exponent of 3. Notice what happens with the exponent of 3. The line's trying to be to linear, but then it gets a little kind of a shake in the middle, squiggle, and then it goes back up. That's that exponent of 3 making it nonlinear. All it wants you to pay attention to on this one is the different equations that will show up linear versus nonlinear. So let's go to 5 and let's jot down our thoughts. First, how many were linear? Well, if I go back, I know this one was linear, yep. This one was linear, and this one was linear. So we had 3 were linear. I'm going to squish these two answers into one answer. How did they look different from nonlinear, and what can you remember? Well, I can remember that a nonlinear function or equation has, if I go back, these two were nonlinear, and we noticed that the x's had an exponent of what or what? 2 or 3, yep. So I'm going to say the nonlinear function or equations, let me just take that word out, have exponents of 2 or 3. And I may even need to go back and remind myself when I say exponents, I'm talking about the little number on the x. All right. So let's go to 6. This is what that question will look like. I'm going to come back here and I'm going to go ahead and copy this. I'm going to copy this because if I can put this on this slide, if I have an exponent of 2 or 3, it's going to be nonlinear. Does this have an exponent of 2 or 3? No, so it's linear. I'm going to check it. Does this have an exponent of 2 or 3? Yep, so it's not going to be checked. Does this have an exponent of 2 or 3? No. If you get stuck, go back to slide 4. 0, yep, that red line was linear. So that one's getting checked. This one, exponent of 2, not going to be linear. This picture, the line is curved, right? So it's nonlinear. This has to be our answer, but the reason being, so the ordered pairs are linear because they have a constant rate of change. It goes 0, 1, 2 for the x's, and then the y's go 1, 3, 5. There's a pattern. All right, let's go to slide 7. Here's what we got to know. This messes with a lot of people. We have to find an equation. So to complete this problem, I need to remember y equals mx plus b. Okay, the first thing, find 2 points on the line. And then draw your step or triangle. So remember, 2 points on the line are where the line goes through 4 corners where 4 squares come together. So it's a clean point. So I scroll down. Here are 2 points on that line. Now to draw my step, remember, my line is going down. Okay, so I'm going to draw my step going down. Oops. All right. After I've drawn my step, next, count, rise, and the run. Then write it as rise over run. All right. So my rise, 1, 2, 3, 4. My rise is 4, but because I went down, it's a negative 4. My run, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So my run is 5. So now to write that, now I'm going to go ahead and say my rise is negative 4. My run is 5. So that means that is my M. Okay. Next, find the y-intercept or the B. This is where the line crosses the y-axis. My red line is going down. My y-axis is right here. Where these two meet up is our y-intercept. Here they happen to meet up at 0. So for here, our b is 0. Lastly, plug the m and b into the equation. So y equals, what's our m? Negative 4 over 5, yep. Negative 4 over 5, put your x, then plus 0. But what do you notice? If I look at these answer choices down here, none of them have a plus 0. Do you know why? Remember, high schoolers don't put the plus 0. They just leave it. So the correct answer for this one is this right here. Good job. All right. Another equation, and we have a table. So to complete this problem, we need to do what? Find the rate of change in the table. Okay, and remember we're going to write it as change, I should put it this way, the y change over the x change. So my y numbers, 0 to negative 4 to negative 8 to negative 12. They are subtracting 4. What are my x numbers doing? 0, 1, 2, 3. They are adding 1. So my change in y will be negative 4. My change in x is 1. If you come up here to your calculator and you put in, I don't know why it's doing that, negative 4 over 1. Yep, our slope is negative 4. Now, to find the b, find where x equals 0 in our table. Here is x equals 0, right? That means this is our b. So in this table, the b is also 0, so we're not going to write it. So which one has y equals negative 4x? Yep, right there. Very, very good. This one's tricky. Be very careful. Select all graphs that are functions. Only one is not a function. To complete this problem, I need to remember each input can only have one output. This is not asking for the ones that are linear. All right, so here's what you're going to do. There are going to be 3 that are correct, 1 that is not. The inputs are the x's. This one is a function. This one is a function. If people get it wrong, it's because they picked the wrong one of these. This is nonlinear, but that does not mean it's not a function. This is the correct answer. The second one is not a function. Because this input right here of x, if I go up or down, it has all these different outputs. Each input can only have one output. So that's why this one is not a function. Okay? If you get this one wrong on the assessment, it's because you picked linear and you did not pick the function one. All right, we got a couple more slides to go. You're doing good. Again, ordered pairs found in a function, what's the slope? So all you have to do to complete this problem, find the rate of change, right? Right, as change in y over change in x. So the y's are change in plus 3. The x's or change in plus 1. So change in y goes on top, change in x goes on the bottom. 3 over 1 is 3. Good job. All right, this one I want you to pay attention. It's really asking you to find two things: the slope and the y-intercept of the line. Okay? The y-intercept is easy. Here's the y-axis. The line that's graphed is this. It comes into the y-axis a little above the 50. That means this has to be the correct answer because it's not between 5 and 6. That would be down here. Now the slope, we've got either 1/5 or 5. Let's look at it this way. If I use this point here and I go this point here, I know to draw my slope, I draw my rise and my run. What you have to pay attention to, though, is while it's 1 block tall, it starts at 60 and it ends at 70. So the rise is actually 10. The run, though, is 2 blocks, but it's still just 2 because it's going from 2 to 4. So if I go into my calculator and I write this as rise over run, what is the slope? Oops. Yep. So our slope should be 5. So be very careful. There's only 2 answers on this one. And lastly, here's what you need to know. This has a lot of words. What you gotta remember: vertical means up and down. That's our rise. Horizontal means left and right. That's our run. Slope is written as, remember, rise over run, or vertical over horizontal, right? So in this question, it gives you 2 different slopes. You would have 4 over 6 or 2 over 3. It's going to give you 2 different things. What you're looking for on this one is the one that has, if you pay attention, this says horizontal to vertical. I don't want horizontal first. I want vertical first. So it's not this one. Here's vertical to horizontal, which is what I want. And is it 2 over 3? Yep. So it's this one right here. Okay, because you're looking for vertical to be first, horizontal to be second, and the fraction to be the same as the slope here. Hopefully this helps a little bit. Good luck on your assessment. Have a great day.